Welcome back to the National Veterans Small Business Coalition's Charlie Mike Training Series. I'm Zach Armstrong, Deputy Executive Director with the NVSBC, and I will be your host and MC today. Before I introduce our speakers, I'd like to share a few announcements and updates, and we'll get the show on the road. So it is our distinct pleasure to work closely with two great partners who believe in training GovCons and supporting this Charlie Mike training series. So BAE Systems and Bank of America, we're grateful for their contribution and their support to provide this training series, this information and best practices for veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses that support the federal government. The Charlie Mike training series is also part of a suite of programs from NVSBC, and wanted to share this because the Small Business Administration through the Community Navigator pilot program helps to make this event possible. Many of you may not know that the National Veteran Small Business Coalition is part of a hub and spoke network, again, supported by the SBA and through the Daniello Institute for Veterans and Military Families, IVMF, up at Syracuse. So there's all kinds of resources, free resources that we provide at NVSBC, as well as we can refer out. So if you're interested, you can go to the site below or contact NVSBC, and we'll be happy to connect you. Our Vets Conference, one of our shining stars, kind of like a hallmark of a great organization, is bringing everyone together. So we'll be down in Orlando again, May 22nd to 25th. The numbers at the moment, we're likely to sell out by end of this week. So like last year, I think we had 512 participants. We're tracking to have like 950 this year. So just absolutely explosion in activity and sessions, matched networking. We have a lot of cool new features, along with all kinds of folks from federal agencies, primes, smalls, bigs, and service providers. So looking forward to seeing everyone down there. Our DC networking dinners, we have one coming up. So again, once a month in DC. This is where we have hundreds at our events of GovCons, agencies, service providers, more. Just the full GovCon ecosystem. So please join us. I think we have one coming up May 10th and June 7th before we take our summer break and then start back up right before fall. So make these connections, shake hands, learn, grow your business, kind of find your next teaming partner. All of that can be done at these events. Our VetFed Academy, one of our in-person training activities. So again, like these are 60 minutes with question and answer, learn from the best, just like we're doing here at the Charlie Mike training series. Get a chance to learn, get your questions answered, hear from what we call the tip of the spear subject matter experts who are at the top of their game. And then why we're here today, one of our 3 training programs, this is a virtual training series, hosted on our YouTube channel. So please do subscribe, like, and view so you can get all of this good information at your fingertips and share it with those GovCons and aspiring GovCons who need to know. And with that, I'm pleased and privileged to be your moderator today. Just want to say thank you for all of you who've already registered for this, and we'll receive it first for the early access, and for all of you that shared some questions ahead of time that I'll be able to share with our speakers at the conclusion of their training. And with that, I want to just introduce Don and Mark and just say, like, this all started with a conversation I was having with Ray Milano, the director of the VBOC program with the SBA, and I shared that NVSBC is fielding way more questions than normal than what we've been used to about the VBOC and OVBD. And he put me in touch with these two fine gentlemen. We've had a couple conversations, and they agreed to come and share their wisdom and their stories, experiences, and how you can maximize your experience with the VBOC and the OVBD. So looking forward to this conversation. With that, Don Miller, Mark Williams, I'll turn it over to you. Stop sharing my screen, and look forward to learning a few things. So the show is yours, guys.
All right, Zach. Well, thanks so much. And what a fantastic program you have, this Charlie Mike training series. So we are thrilled to be a part of it. Thank you so much for allowing us to talk about some of the programs that the Veterans Business Outreach Centers and Office of Veterans Business Development has. Don, I think you're the expert here. I'm just the talking head. So talk a little bit. I think talk a little bit about your experience. I think would be good to help. Like you're the director of the Veterans Business Outreach Center, and you counsel businesses. But talk a little bit about your experience leading up to this particular position.
Well, it's been quite a ride, Mark. I retired from the Navy back in '97 and went to work for a big government contractor. Started my own company in 2005, late 2005, in doing custom software for DoD. And so I went through that pain. I know what it's like to start a business. And the SBA had actually brought me in to do free seminars on government contracting and small business teaming back in 2007. And in 2013, I met this woman when I was giving a seminar on government contracting up at Old Dominion University. And this woman walks up to me and she says, "My name is Sherilyn Sagister. I'm the director of the ODU Veterans Business Outreach Center." And I said, "Oh, that's great. What the heck is that?" I had never heard of the Veterans Business Outreach Center. And so she explained it to me. At that particular time, there were 14 of them across the country, serving every state here in the continental US plus Alaska. And we expanded to 22 VBOCs under Ray Milano, and serving every state and Puerto Rico and Guam. And now we are moving to 28 to give us a better handle on taking care of the veterans in all the states around the country. But we teach the Boots to Business program for those people transitioning out of the military. Plus, we do what we call Boots to Business Reboots, which are the same entrepreneurship training that was originally developed by Syracuse University, and now Mark Williams obviously runs that program. But our VBOC alone last year taught that 2-day entrepreneurship class almost 70 times. But in addition to that, once these people decide that they are interested in starting a business, then we provide the counseling. Once again, I'm an experienced business owner, instructor, and counselor. My staff, I have Darwin Bird now, who, like myself, he is retired Navy. He was a combat corpsman working with the Marine Corps, and he had a medical transport company. So he's been through it. And see, that's the great part about it. What we bring to the table as with the VBOCs is our own experience in starting a business and having gone through that. And we don't just sit there and say, "Yeah, you got a great idea." No, we actually do the analysis on it. And if somebody has an idea that's not a great idea, we let them know. But maybe we can take that idea and mold it into something they're still going to have a passion for, and that they can become successful and turn into a business where they can make money, pay their bills. And so we take them through the entire process. But in addition, we have so many resource partners. We have financial institutions, we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have insurance companies. But we vet all of those people. I never want to put a veteran or a veteran family member in front of someone that is not going to take care of them the right way. And so we actually have lawyers you can trust, and we let them know right off the bat. You know, I attended a dinner a few years back, and there was a lawyer there that said, "If you want to become a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, CVE certification, you need to go through a lawyer." That didn't sit well with me. And of course, I had to stand up and embarrass my wife and say, "Hey, look, could you say that again?" He said the same thing. I said, "That's not true." We help people through the process. And now the SBA has taken over the CVE certification process from the VA. And I have two individuals right here in my office that will help any veteran that is service disabled get that certification. And oh yeah, it's free. Everything that we do for our veterans and their families is free. The counseling, the training. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was going to ask you because you keep talking about veterans, but talk about who all you serve. Like, who are the groups you serve? Who's eligible to take advantage of the Veteran Business Outreach Center services?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Mark. Thank you. We work with the veteran spouses, the veteran family members. I had a young lady that came in and her granddad had fought in the Korean War. And she said, I don't think I'm eligible. Yes, you are. You are eligible for those services that we have, and it's all free. She was actually writing a book, a biography on her grandfather and his experiences, being a minority member of the military back during the 50s. And really a phenomenal story. And so, yes, we help all of those folks. I don't care where, and I've helped a lot of Vietnam era veterans. So it's for anyone. If you're active duty and you're thinking about starting a business, we help them too. So it expands to every family member that you can imagine.
Can I throw in that one of the things that is a big initiative the White House is involved is we're trying to do more to support military spouses. And one of the things that's important to realize, and I think a lot of people don't, is that from an SBA perspective, the military spouse, so the spouse of a veteran or the spouse of an active duty service member, has the same access to programs as the service member. They can get, whatever loan advantages that a veteran gets, the military spouse gets it, whatever counseling, all those things. So a lot of the programs, I think we don't have military spouse participation like the numbers should be, because I don't think people are aware that they're eligible to participate.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we go through when it comes to the training that we do. We bring in folks from different financial institutions, banks and credit unions to talk about the different SBA guaranteed loan programs. And, and we do get the veterans that walk in and say, well, I'm a veteran, so where's my free money? Well, there isn't free money out there. We give them the reality check. We let them know you still have to go through a financial institution, and we try to help you get set up with the right one. It's not just what you need today when you're starting your business, but what are you going to need next year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and finding that right bank or credit union that's going to meet your needs down the road too.
So, you talked a little bit about Boots to Business and Boots to Business Reboot, which are, programs I care a lot about because those programs fall under me. And, Boots to Business and Reboot are both beginning entrepreneur programs, which are, 10,000 foot view of what being an entrepreneur is about. But then you all do a whole lot of other sorts of training. Want to talk about some of those? You touched a little bit about helping people with government contracting. What are some of the other kinds of training that you all do?
You bet. We bring in lawyers and insurance companies and accountants to help train the people. And this is all free training. We have a young lady that she is in herself a veteran, and she's an accountant, and she instructs on QuickBooks, and just a fantastic 2-hour session. But in addition to all those classes, we talk about the business plan. That's such a huge part. People think, well, I don't need one. Elon Musk never wrote a business plan. No, but he does have a 5-year strategic plan now. And that's Bill Gates. That's on down the line of all these people who have become very successful as business people. Maybe they didn't, but I can't put myself intellectually on the same level with those folks. So I know when I did my business, I had to write a business plan, and it was something I updated continually because we were looking in the government contracting realm at new contracts coming out. New agencies that we would want to go after and market. But in addition, one of the interesting things, and of course, I love doing this. This is so much fun, is we work with the economic development folks from the cities and counties across the country. They will help those people starting up in business maybe find brick and mortar, maybe help you reduce the cost on your startup costs when you're doing your build out if you have to have brick and mortar. We work with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I've helped several people that wanted to get into farming, a hog farmer out in Indiana, which was really a neat thing. And the USDA gave him the plans for how to build the pen for the hogs. And they did all this stuff just helping out the veterans. The programs are phenomenal that are out there, and the different organizations that we look at to come help with our training when we are doing this. I'm doing a joint boots to business with the U.S. Department of Agriculture here in Virginia. But that's not just here in Virginia where that happens. That happens with the VBOCs all over the country. They're all out there looking at new resource partners and how they can better serve their clients. And when it comes to, if there's something I don't know about, if there's something new, and maybe I need some more expertise, we bring in those resource partners that can help us. We've recently gotten together with the U.S. Department of Commerce on people that want to export or import products or services. And that was one thing that people sometimes don't understand. Even if you're going over to do some training, I had some gentlemen that were doing security training over in one of the countries that we are actually friendly with. And they said, yeah, we've already got a contract. I said, okay, you got your export license? No, we don't need one. We're just going over to train them. Yeah, you still need an export license. You're exporting your knowledge. And so, we help people through this whole process. And that's where it's so much fun.
Yeah. So, you talked about the 22 current VBOCs, and then we're expanding to 28. One of the things I think that's important to expound on about that is that wherever you are in the U.S. or one of the territories, there is a VBOC that serves you. Like we don't, obviously there's 50 states, there's 28 VBOCs. There's not one in every state, but wherever you are, there is a VBOC to serve you. So I thought that was important to say. And then you talked about how we team up with some of the other, you call them resource partners. Talk about how we work together, because one of the things I notice is that, we have a lot of briefs for a lot of programs, a lot of training, a lot of things where we talk about all these different organizations. And I can kind of see the person taking that training going, oh my gosh, which one of these 10 organizations should I reach out to? And I always say, if you reach out to any of them, we will get you to the person who can help. We want to talk about how we work together, how this little family of, entrepreneurship training and entrepreneurship support for veterans works.
You bet. As a great example of that, Mark, is right here in the Hampton Roads area with our local partners, the Women's Business Center that is co-located with us. They provide a little bit different network than we do, and we have a lot of our veterans are females. We work with the SCORE office, and who bring in those people who have a ton of business experience in many different areas. And we've never looked at this as a competition. We look at this as there are so many resources that can bring you so much more knowledge for what you want to do. And we work with the chambers. We work with here in this area, we've got Black Brands, which is the Black Chamber of Commerce. We've got the Asian Chamber of Commerce. I speak at their events and talk to them about, hey, we need to be working very closely together and helping each other out on all these different things. And once again, I'm not a lawyer. So bringing in lawyers and bringing in insurance companies that can not market their company, but give the importance of having insurance for their company, the importance of having a partnership agreement, even if you're possibly doing business with your spouse or maybe with another family member or your best friend. Who's the decision maker? A lawyer can help you through that process. And yes, they come in and they do free training. But if you need a partnership agreement or you need a contract written up, obviously a lawyer will have to, you'll have to pay for that service. But we have ones that we trust. The folks that I've helped all over this country that are still in business up in Pennsylvania, because we used to have that area. I'm still working with a lot of those folks. I work with St. Joe University up there. I work with the economic development folks up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, because I had a client that was moving up there and wanted to start their business there. And I helped them hook up with the economic development folks and get that business up and going. So it's all over the country. And we all share that information with each other. The VBOCs all know each other. We work together. We talk about best practices. We share different things on different training sessions that we have. Patrick down in UT Arlington has a big training group every fall, and he invites all the other VBOCs to come to it. We have a training conference for all the VBOCs in DC coming up in August or in July, when we get to share all the information and learn about new things that we all would like to be involved in. So yeah, all those resource partners, from the SCORE offices to the city councils to the economic development folks to the SCORE people all over the country. These are all folks, we look at it as they're going to help expand your knowledge in starting your business, because it's not easy, folks. The people that come to me and say, yeah, I want to start a business because I want to work for myself. I don't want to work for anybody. Well, now every one of your clients is your boss, because you've got to please them. And we emphasize that. And so people really come to an understanding. And I've had people that really thought they wanted to get into business, but when they realized what it was going to take, and the fact that, yeah, they're really not their own boss anymore, those are the ones that will walk away and say, you know what, I'm going to go get a job. And we don't discourage people from doing that. But when they come to that realization, just how difficult it is to start a business and become successful, because you never rest on your laurels. You get that first sale, you sell that first product, that first service. What's next? What's next? You've got to be thinking about what is next down the road. And I push that. That is such a big thing.
So you talked about all the resource partners. So the big ones for the SBA, Small Business Development Center, SCORE, Women's Business Centers, we have Apex Accelerators, and we have the Veterans Business Outreach Centers. Why do you think the Veteran Business Outreach Center is a good place for somebody in the military community? So again, we serve veterans, we serve transitioning service members, we serve spouses. Why is the Veteran Business Outreach Center a good place to start, or maybe the best place to start? What do you guys bring that's different?
Well, in a lot of our resource partners, these are people, and trust me, I trust these people and believe in them, and we use them all the time. But a lot of those folks have never actually been in business themselves. They've never started their own company. And in our case, we went through it. I've got the scars to prove it. It was kind of an interesting thing when I got ready to start the business, and my wife and I sat down and talked about it. She understood, because she was also in the government contracting arena working for a different company than I was. And we talked about how it was going to change our life. And so I had gone from working for someone else, playing golf almost every weekend, sometimes even an afternoon during the week, to playing golf twice the first year that I started the business. And both times were for a client, a potential client. And so, it does change your lifestyle. And having your significant other on board was huge for me. Absolutely huge. So, that's why when I say that it's it's not one of those 8 to 5 jobs. It's one of those 24/7, 365 jobs. And that's what it was for me pretty much the first 2 years that we were in business.
So, a lot of this, you see thousands of dollars for business services like, oh, hey, we'll write your business plan for you. We will guarantee you that we will get you government contracting, give thousands of dollars for that. Your guys' services sound pretty good. How much does your stuff cost?
Well, I'm not going to guarantee somebody that they're going to get a government contract, but I will set up a brand new company with those companies that I know and trust, that they can possibly become a subcontractor on. And my services are free. Everything I do is free. A lot of times, and I tell people, don't give up your day job while you're working on your new business, because you got to pay your bills. You've got to be able to keep your credit score up in case you're going to have to borrow money. And so along that lines, we encourage people to talk to as many people as they can. I work weekends. I work evenings. We have some of our training sessions in the evenings and on weekends. We're hooked up with a gentleman who's a retired Army major that he, for the past 20 plus years, has been helping veterans and their families that want to get into franchising. He knows the good ones. He will check on it if it's something he's never heard of. He doesn't charge a dime for what he does. He's a nonprofit. Sometimes that franchise will pay him, sometimes they won't. He doesn't care. He's there to help veterans. And he's such a valuable resource for us. He's helped many of my clients that have gotten into franchising. So just another example of a veteran giving back. And we find that more and more and more, that these folks, once they get up and become successful, these veteran-owned businesses or veteran family-owned businesses want to give back to other people. And I think that is something that, yeah, you do see that on the outside. But boy, I'll tell you what, I see so much of it with veteran and veteran family-owned businesses where they want to give back to the veterans. And there's a lot of veterans out there that need help, need mentoring, need coaching. The military has started what's called the Skill Bridge program. Skill Bridge is a really excellent program where if a command can allow a person anytime in the last 6 months of their time in the military, they can go and be an intern with a company that is a sponsor of the Skill Bridge program. I've got many of my companies are doing that now. And it's fantastic to see them give back. And I mentioned the V3 program before. V3 is for here in Virginia, at least. What they do is companies sign up for it and they put a premium on hiring veterans for their businesses. And a lot of my companies have done that over the last few years. And one in particular is ASJ IT Services, Arizona Brown, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, who started a government contracting. She wanted to make it look like my company. And I helped her through that. She has become a very successful business. And she has a lot of folks that she is mentoring through the Skill Bridge program, but also hiring veterans through the V3 program.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I've seen so much bad paid business help. So many, business plans that the, people, it's a template that, insert name of business owner here. You can pay so much money for bad business help, and people just don't know about the great free resources we have, like the VBOC. So,
Yeah, Mark, and that's one thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it takes me to when people go through our Boots to Business program, whether it is as a reboot because they didn't go through it, or maybe it wasn't even available when they were in the service. And if they go through one of our classes, and we do them virtually as well as face to face. Even after the pandemic, we're doing that because we have such a large reach out to Virginia and West Virginia. They can do the follow-on course, which is the Boots to Business Reboot. which I absolutely love this program. It is a 6-week program that is under Mississippi State University. Deb Scott down there does a fantastic job. She has instructors that, and the way the program works, she has these very good instructors that will teach people how to use LivePlan. LivePlan is an incredible tool that the Office of Veterans Business Development had brought on board here a few years ago. And it is an online tool for building your business plan. And these instructors will take you, it's 2 hours a week, 1 hour each time, and they set it up so you can actually do it in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, you can do it in the evening. Sign up for that particular class. And so you go through those 12 classes, and if you're applying yourself, you can actually have a good 75% of your business plan done by the time you get through. It takes you through the economics. It takes you through how you describe what your business is about and how you build up that management team, the whole bit. And we, obviously one of the big things we talk about in the Boots to Business program is the bail team, your banker, your accountant, your insurance, and your lawyer. These are critical parts of putting your business together. But the training that the Boots to Business, which is the introduction to entrepreneurship, with the follow-on to the LivePlan, and even if you don't, I had a client come in yesterday, and this particular individual had not attended Boots to Business, but they were getting ready to get up and going. I said, "Where's your business plan?" And he says, "Well, we've got some things written down." I said, "Okay, let me get you set up in LivePlan." And there's a great tutorial in it. And this is a very expensive application that people don't have to pay for when they're coming through the VBOC. And if you're serious about your business, you've got to have that plan. You've got to have it. And people sometimes poo-poo that. It's not just for getting money. It's for how you're going to run your business. And that's critical. There we go. Wonderful. And, I'm doing a reboot up in West Virginia here in a couple weeks at Shepherd University. We've got a lot of people from West Virginia, veterans that are signing up, and veteran spouses and family members. And this is just an excellent tool for us to be able to get out there and reach out to the different organizations. And we work with the SBDC. We work with SCORE over there in West Virginia, so they can put out all the information about us. People find us on the SBA website, and sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes people are kind of surprised when they say, "I've never heard of the VBOC." Well, you're part of a large group of people, but we're doing our darndest to get the word out there about all of our services that we provide and the training and counseling we do. And oh yeah, again, it's all free.
So I would say the main reason why people reach out to the SBA is money, right? That's why most people come to Boots to Business. That's why most people come to the office. Okay, I got this great business idea. I know what to do, but I just need the money to do it, is what people think. How does that, how can you help? How do you approach someone that's their approach to it?
That's a super question. And Mark, to just kind of finish up on the last one, why do you go to the VBOC first? Because we got the experience. We've been business owners. We're instructors. We're counselors. We're veterans. And that to me is a big thing. We connect with veterans and their families because of our background. Now, when they come to me and say, "Okay, hey, I need $150,000 for my business. You guys going to give it to me?" No, the SBA doesn't have money. You have to go to a financial institution. But guess what? You don't walk in. It's not like going in and buying a vehicle. They're not just going to check your credit and see that, okay, you're at 700, 750. We're going to give you $150,000 for your business. That's not how it works. A bank, and it's kind of interesting, and I love that part of the training that we do. It talks about less than 1% of all small businesses that borrow money go to a bank or credit union. That's the last place they go to. Normally it's using their own money that they've saved up. And the one I always hate is they reference family and friends. What a great way to ruin a relationship with a family member. But when they come to us, we tell them, okay, you got to have a business plan. You've got to have a solid business plan. When you walk into a bank and say, and I've had to do this numerous times with my clients, you've got to have a presentation ready. You've got to show a passion for what you're doing. And you've got to be able to show them through the economics of your business how you're going to pay that loan back. And so people say, oh, I just can't just walk in and get my money. No, it doesn't work that way. And in a lot of cases, and in most of the cases where I've worked with folks who have borrowed a significant amount of money for their business, the bank doesn't just hand you the entire amount. If you've got a build out that's got to be done, okay, we're going to give you the part for going in there and preparing the space. And then the city comes in and inspects. And then they'll give you money to bring in the plumbing and the electrical. Then the city comes in and inspects. It's not a quick process. They don't hand you that whole amount of money because they know if they do, there's a good chance that you're going to spend all that money before you get done, before you get everything done to open the doors to that business. We used to joke about it that the Air Force, who always has taken better care of their people than the other services, they give them that good financial training. But the Air Force will go in, and when they're going to put a new base in, they're going to go in and they're going to build the housing, the rec room, the swimming pools, the theaters and all, and then say, we don't have a runway and we're out of money. Okay, we got to give you extra money now for the runway. And we kind of, but that's kind of the way a bank will look at it. Because remember, a bank has investors, and those investors want to see how that money is going to be paid back. And so it's not as simple as buying a vehicle. It's a lot more involved.
So, we've been talking about banks, which is kind of the traditional thing. But one of the good things about the Veteran Business Outreach Centers is you have the understanding of the local landscape, including some of the other options besides the bank. You want to talk a little bit about how you can help with that?
You bet. And we will look, we're involved with and have relationships with organizations that want to invest in new startups. There are people that maybe they understand the business you're going into because they've done it. The venture capitalists out there, the angel investors. And I always tell people an angel investor is not really an angel. They're pretty much like VCs. They're like venture capitalists. They just will fund smaller amounts. And so we have a reach out to organizations like that. We have people that have actually won money in competitions with the 757 Angels here in the Hampton Roads area. We've had individuals that have won nationally and won money through organizations that are always looking to sponsor new things, whether it be in green energy or whether it be in nonprofit groups that are helping veterans. There's always groups out there that are looking to invest. But we also help people. Maybe you need a campaign where you're trying to build your brand and you're trying to get donations. I know in a few cases here, people said, well, if I put up that fund where I'm just going to get people to donate and I'm going to send them out a ball cap, advertise my business, or I'm going to send them out a t-shirt, advertise my business. So they'll do that for advertising as people will kick in $25 and they'll get a ball cap for $50 and they'll get a t-shirt. I had one guy who he was doing a microbrewery, and if you donated $100, you'd get a growler. Well, not being a beer drinker myself, I said, I have no idea what a growler is, and he had to explain that to me. So, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. But there's also those folks that are looking at doing microloans, which are $50,000 and less. A lot of people will use credit cards. And we tell people, don't ever touch your 401k. Please don't ever touch your 401k. That's crazy. You'll never get that money paid back completely. because you're going to be losing interest, the penalty. I had a guy came in and said, yeah, I was going to take $100,000 out of my 401k. And I talked to the bank and they said, you do understand that right off the top, you're going to be penalized 40K. And then you're still going to be taxed on that entire amount that you pulled out of your 401k. So you lose 40K right off the top. So we try to tell people use other means. Like I said earlier, I highly encourage people not to use family and friends, because I know of people that actually did that before the pandemic and then were not able to open. And now you've asked mom and dad have given you $75,000 for your business and thinking you're going to open, and you never did. And now you've lost that $75,000. And mom and dad are sitting there saying, that's kind of money we needed. So, you really need to talk to your VBOC, talk to your financial institution. We get people that come in with bad credit, and we always tell them, the banks and credit unions have people that will help you for free. Get your act together financially. They'll help you set up a plan. It's not these fly-by-night companies that say, hey, we're going to take care of your bills for you. You're just going to send us one check, which they're tacking the fee on top of. And so you're spending more money than if you actually just went to a bank and said, okay, help me get organized. Because a lot of people don't. As I mentioned earlier, the Air Force trains people all the time on financial management. We're trying to get the rest of DOD to do that. Trying to get them, because these youngsters, I've met Air Force people that have done 20 years and they get out, they own 6 homes all over the country that they rent out. I don't meet many Navy people like that. I honestly don't. But it's one of those, financial management is a key part of your business. You can't go into it without having a good economic plan set up. And that's what we can also help you with. We have resource partners within SCORE, within retired bankers that love coming in and for free helping veterans and veteran family members with the economics of their business, because that's what they do for a living. They love it.
Yeah, one of the things I always tell the veterans that I work with, you got to have a little bit of patience and a little bit of trust, because, maybe it's not as easy to start the business as someone might have initially thought, but they can do it. And you just have to be patient. And one of the things where I encourage patience is when you are seeking financing, because what I tell everyone is, yes, you can go directly to your lender and try to borrow money for your business, but why not go to one of the VBOCs or one of the other resource partners, people who work with. How many businesses have you helped get financing done? Just off the top of your head, take a guess.
Well over 100.
Okay.
Well over 100 businesses.
So that's probably 100 times more than the business you're seeing.
Oh yeah, and of course, I've had a lot more people that have come in and said, I need to borrow money for my business, and we're straight up front. Okay, what's your credit score? And you go, what? Well, your personal credit is what a bank decides or a credit union decides whether or not they want to loan you the money in addition to your business plan. And I had one guy that wanted to borrow $500,000 for a kind of a crazy idea. And his credit score was, it was 530. And I said, I don't think you're going to get any money for that, but you need to fix your credit. So I'm going to set you up with a financial institution that's going to help you fix your credit. It's not going to cost anything. And then the next question was, do you have a job? Well, no, not right now. Well, guess what? He was a veteran. I hooked him up with the Veterans Employment Center here in Norfolk, Virginia, and they helped him find a job. So, it's not one of those, I'm just going to help you start your business, whatever it may be, from a food truck, which I absolutely love, to doing government contracting, to doing trucking, to whatever. If you don't have the wherewithal to start a business, or maybe you need to be paying your bills, we work with the local organizations like the Veterans Employment Center that can help that person find a job.
And I think you make a great point, because we're not really graded on how many businesses got started. We are, I mean, it's something that they look at, but I think at the end of the day, we're trying to help the veteran or the spouse or the transitioning service member. We're trying to help them live their best life. And if business ownership is that way, we'll help you. But I think knowing if business is or is not the path for you, I think is a good outcome of working with our experts.
Yeah, and Mark, it's interesting because, like you said, we don't count them all, because if you went and got your business license yesterday and your first appointment with me is today, I can't count you as a business startup in our metrics. Now, obviously, it's recognized that that business has been up less than a year in our metrics, but I get companies that have been in business for a year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years that say, you know, I'm doing fine, but I just can't get to that next level. Okay, let's look at what you're doing. Let's evaluate everything, and let's figure out how we can get you to that next level. Where do you want to get to? Or people that maybe they've been doing commercial work for years and they've been successful, say, I want to get into government contracting. And my first question is going to be why? And they say, well, you know, the long-term contracts. Okay, you got to understand that it's not that simple to get into government contracting. We can help you get registered up on sam.gov and get you, if you need a certification, like a woman-owned business, a 8A, which is a minority or disadvantaged person certification, or the SDVOSB. We can help them through all of that. And the hub zone for historically underutilized business zones, we can help them with all of that. But like I said, oftentimes it's not somebody that is brand new. It's companies that have been around a while that maybe they're still struggling after 10 years. How do I get out of this rut I'm in? We can do an evaluation on it. Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll bring it up again for free, and we're going to help you get to that next level or fix the problems you have. Because to me, that's the main thing. This is a small grant that we are given by the SBA. Darwin, myself, Josh, and Pacha are not in this to make money. We're in this because we want you to become successful. I've got mine. I want you to get yours. That is our motto. And because we have all been successful in business. And it is so rewarding when I can help someone get their business started and get to that point where, hey, everything is cooking. I'm paying my bills. I'm paying myself. And then I will show up at the front door. What's next? You always got to be thinking ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been in the government for about 10 years now, so I've been around a little bit. But what I've been struck by, mostly by the Veteran Business Outreach Center, but honestly, resource partners, all the SBA people in general, how passionate they are about trying to help entrepreneurs reach their dreams. And then when you take the veteran part of it, I would say everybody goes an extra, takes it a little bit extra if the person they're trying to help is a veteran. Why do you think that is?
Well, we go through phases in this country. We really do. And, I am a Vietnam era veteran. I did not go to Vietnam. I joined during the Vietnam War. My family, my dad had fought in World War II, both my granddads in World War I. And of course, as many people know, and I talk about this in every class that I do, what happened with the Vietnam veterans and how there was no welcome home. There was none of that. Well, what we saw in the 80s was an uptick in patriotism in the 90s. And then obviously after 9/11 and the programs that have come out since then for veterans, for starting businesses, for getting jobs, nonprofits that are really, I have an outreach to numerous organizations that want to work with veterans because of mental health issues. And that's a biggie to me. Mark, and you know this as well as Zach, that, you know, we are losing 22 veterans a day to suicide. And so there's organizations out there trying to help them. And there's organizations that really want to help these veterans get their business up and going, or their family members. They want to hire them for their companies. Why do I think that is? I think we've had that uptick, that huge surge in people being love the country, and they've come to realize, and I think social media has played a big part of that. When we see what some of these people have gone through, the people that have lost limbs, the people that are struggling with PTSD and such. And so I think that's why there's so much more, and the veteran understands it even more so. And so the veterans are out there, the ones that become successful really want to give back. And that, to me, it just warms my heart. That, and I mean that seriously. Every time I come across somebody that is trying to help veterans in one way or another and doing legitimately great work for veterans, I thank them. I let them know how much I appreciate what they're doing to help our veterans. And I think it is that uptick in patriotism and caring about the country is why people are doing that. And of course, I was really happy to get hooked up with the NVSBC. You know, we had here in Norfolk, they had, I think 3 years in a row, we had the vets program, their big annual program here in Norfolk and up in Williamsburg. And now, of course, it's been down in Orlando the last couple of years. I'm really looking forward to being down there next month for it because of what they bring to the table also, the way they're trying to help folks. And I was so happy to go to Vets 2022. Our director had always gone before me, and now, of course, I'm going. And the connections I made with people that want to help veterans was phenomenal. I loved it. And it was just really a great 4 days.
And so the NVSBC is really a lot of focus on government contracting. Where does being a veteran help with government contracting? What's the advantage of veterans in that?
You know, it's first off, they bring in experience with working within Department of Defense, and they understand some of the things that the government needs and some of the things the government wants. I always joke about when I started my company and we were building custom software for DoD. I never gave the admirals and generals and colonels and captains what they wanted. I gave them what they needed. And so I'd go down to in the Navy, we call it the deck plates, down to the young guys and say, okay, this is what he says he wants. What do you need to give him what he wants? And so that's kind of the way it is with those folks within government contracting. The veteran brings a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more experience in working with the government, and they have a little bit more understanding. They have obviously a better understanding of waste, fraud, and abuse. And so we try to, as a veteran, I know that was a biggie with my company, and that I was not going to waste the government money, the taxpayers' money. Yeah, that's what I should say, the taxpayers' money, our money. And so I just think the veteran understands that a little bit better. And once again, government contracting is so tough. I loved going down there last year and meeting those different companies that wanted to work with veteran-owned companies and work with veterans in the government contracting arena. It's always been a forte of mine. I mean, I was in that arena for 25 years. And so after I retired, so I understand what it takes and how difficult it can be get into the government contracting world and finding the companies that you can trust, that you want to team with. And that's a big part of what I do. And the Vets 22 last year, the Vets 23 this year, those are going to be a big part of helping my clients.
Yeah, so we're kind of showing some of the contracting programs on the screen here, and those all require a certification. How do you help with these various certifications, like women-owned small business services, say veteran-owned, et cetera, et cetera? What's the VBOC have to help with that?
Well, obviously, under the SBA now runs the CVE program for SDVOSB, but all those other programs that we used to go to, the PTACs, now the Apex centers, but we have beefed up on our knowledge of those programs so we can help people with the process on how they can become the woman-owned small business, the 8A certification, and take them through the application process, make sure they've got all their ducks in a row before they submit. So we help with all of those. And we may be a little bit unique in that because having been here, been doing this for 10 years, I just saw a need for those people. So they aren't going to a lawyer and spending a stupid amount of money for a lawyer to do something that they could do themselves with us in maybe 90 minutes and save themselves a few $1,000s.
Gotcha. So shift gears here. You talked about how experienced your team is, business owners. You've done it. You've done that before. You've walked the walk already. What would you say are someone who's planning to get into business? What are some of the most important things they can do to prepare before they see you? What should they be doing to get ready?
They need to find something they have a real passion for. We get people that come in here and they've already got a business plan. And by the way, when I mentioned business plan, folks, you never pay anybody to do your business plan for you. You've got the thoughts in your own mind of what you want to do. Put that down on paper. And guess what? If you can't write worth a darn, I don't care. I can. I will help smooth that up for you. But what do they need before they come in? They need to find something that they really have a passion for. And then we'll do an evaluation. We'll do a SWOT evaluation on with the strengths and the weaknesses of what that opportunity might be, to see if it's something that's feasible, that they can be successful at. It's got to be something you can, if you're doing it as a hobby on the side, okay, maybe you aren't so much concerned about making a lot of money on it because you've already got an income. But if this is something that's going to be paying the family bills for a while, you've got to have a passion for it. You've got to love what you're doing. It can't just be, well, I can make money doing this. Well, what are you going to do when a pandemic hits, like what happened during COVID? What are you going to do, like down here on the East Coast, where if a hurricane hits and knocks you out for 2 weeks and it's going to take you 6 months to rebuild? Are you going to have the passion to get back up and really get that business going again? Or are you going to say, oh, the heck with it, I'm going to take the insurance money and walk away? You got to have a passion for it. And I can't emphasize that part enough. But it's also got to be something realistic where you can actually pay your bills with it. And so what do you need when you come in? Have a thought in your head. Have a thought in your head about what you think you might want to do. I mean, I get people that come in and they've got 3 or 4 different ideas. And we'll sit there and we'll talk about it. And I say, okay, which one can you make money on the quickest? And they say, why? Well, because if you really got a passion for that, you're going to make that successful. You're going to bring in money quicker, and that can help fund the other businesses you're thinking about doing. So that's pretty much how we look at it. In our Boots to Business class, as part of the transition assistance program, normally half the people in those classes, in my Norfolk class, I'll have 50 people in there. and it's a lot of fun. And half of them, hey, I'm just coming in for the info. I don't know if I want to start a business or not. And they don't even have an idea about what type of business they want to do. And so they come in just for information. So you don't even need an idea. I prefer that before you come in to see me. But if you attend our training, which is open to everybody and it's free, at least the ones we do here in the office and virtually, those are open and free. You don't really need an idea. Maybe you just want to find out more information about what it's like being a business owner and what it takes to get there, and figuring out, hey, what is the market right now? What are the hot things? I'm a voracious reader. I read the Wall Street Journal all the time. I'm looking at what are the trends, what are the new things coming out. I'm really big into some of the new technology that's coming out. AI interests me, scares me. I just go on both sides of that. And cyber is one of the huge things that I'm helping people with. Companies that are getting started that have experienced cyber people. One of my clients actually here this past year, he was an Air Force captain, and his best buddy, they started an IT company. They won a big contract for doing cyber work for Department of Defense, and they are also a staffing company, and they hit 100 million in revenue in their second year as a staffing company. 100 million, and that's incredible. But as I tell people, I'm not the reason you're going to become successful. I'm more like a traffic cop. I send you in the right direction. I'll make sure I send you in the right direction, but it's going to be your hard work that's going to make you successful. It's not me. It's your hard work. The effort that you put forth is going to get you to that point where you can say, hey, we got there.
Okay, I got a two-part question for you. One, I always hear that veterans make business, better business owners than non-veterans. That's I'm kind of wondering how much validity there is to that in your experience. And then the other one is, how do you think you, as a successful business owner yourself, how do you think your military experience has helped you be more successful in the business realm?
And that's a great question too, Mark. Sure, there are people out there that have never gone near the military. There are people that are very successful in business. But the neat thing about the military, and this is from the time I was a youngster in the Navy back in the 70s, is the chain of command, processes, and teamwork. These are things that the military teaches, and as you know, as the head guy for the Boots to Business program, we actually show people in our training that these are the things that you've learned that people on the outside didn't learn. You look at that teamwork, you look at that processes. They're even doing Lean Six Sigma within DoD now, which I think is fantastic. My company was CMMI level 3. That was a big thing for us, and that's processes. It's pretty much the IT side of Lean Six Sigma. But the teamwork, learning how to work together, and there are people on the outside that could do it just as well. But it's because they understood. But you take somebody, I love talking about one of my talking about Bill Gates and talking about Apple, and the head of Apple at the time was not a real personable guy. He was a brilliant business mind, and he was to the point of when he did not have majority control of Apple, they fired him as CEO, and then they brought him back because the company started to fail. And it was one of those where, a brilliant business mind is great, but the one thing that I've learned with my company, and I learned in the military too, you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you. And that's one thing I learned from the military. You know, Mark, as I told you, I worked for a Marine 4-star my last couple of years. I had never worked for a flag officer. I'd met some that weren't very nice to the troops. But this Marine 4-star that I worked for, the first thing he did every place we went was go down and meet with the young troops, the young Marines, the young sailors, and talk to them about, hey, how are you doing? And I learned so much from that experience. And I took that into my company. And listening to people is so important. And that's what we had to do in the military. Sure, there were people in the military that they ruled with an iron fist. Most of them weren't the most successful people. But those that worked with the troops, and I say leadership, you know, when the military implemented leadership management training, I said, well, I don't manage troops, I lead troops. But in essence, you do manage also, because I always wanted input from my troops on, hey, listen, we've got these processes over there, and it seems we're hung up on this one particular area. You guys got any ideas? You ladies got any ideas on how to fix this? And so that's one thing that I think DoD, that the military brings to the table, is that processes, that the teamwork. You know, find a couple Army guys sitting in a foxhole over in Afghanistan back not that long ago, and ask them about teamwork. What's the most important thing to them? And it's that guy in that, or that girl in the foxhole next to them, taking care of each other. And that's what I think we bring to the table when it comes to business.
Okay, one last question. Go, Zach, you're popping in. Did you?
Yeah, I'll happily support this last question with you. Go for it, Mark.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, actually, I was going to ask how do you find your closest VBOC was going to be my last question.
Okay, and I'm going to preface this by saying, by the way, you showed the SBA site and the different things within it. People got to understand, when it comes to anything they want to do in business, especially in government contracting, the SBA has so many great tutorials. But how do you find out where the closest VBOC is? Hey, you can go up online and just search for VBOC, and you'll see a map, and you'll see contact information for every VBOC across the country. As you mentioned earlier, you know, we're going from 22 to 28. We're adding one in Omaha, close to Omaha, in my home state, adding one over in Iowa. We were hoping to have a second one down in Florida. I think we've added one in South Carolina, Nevada, and another one in California, if I'm not mistaken. Mark, am I right there?
Correct. Yeah. So the best thing to do is just go to SBA.gov. So like Don was saying, SBA.gov has some great stuff. There's a thing called local assistance, which you can find. So type in your zip code, and whatever, all these resources that we talked about on this call, SCORE, Small Business Development Center, Women's Business Center, Apex Accelerators, a VBOC, you could go to local assistance, type in your zip code, and find the one that serves you. And you could also just go for VBOC, since we talked so much about them, and they're focused on veterans, SBA.gov/VBOC, Victor Bravo, Oscar Charlie. And Zach.
All right, fantastic. So a couple things to tie this all together. We did receive some questions from the folks who registered and want early access to this training. So I think you broached on some of this already, but you know, Don, a question was, as a government contractor, what does a good relationship with a VBOC counselor look like? Should I meet with them once, monthly, quarterly, yearly? Like, what do you think?
Wow. You know, I mentioned her earlier, Arizona Brown, when she came to me in 2014 and said, I want to do exactly what you're doing. Well, I said, okay, I got to get you set up as a subcontractor with companies I trust. And so we actually, I went with her to do presentations, you know, we call it the capabilities brief, the 1 page to 2 page. This is what we do. This is our expertise. How can you possibly use us on a contract that maybe you've got? And Arizona It took her and she did get on as a subcontractor after about a year. And then at the 2-year point, just beyond 2 years, she won her first prime contract. Okay. And so it's not one of those real simple things to do. It takes time. You've got to be patient, as Mark mentioned earlier, and don't give up your day job. She actually was working for a company and she had let them know, it was one of the big guys, that what her ultimate goal was. And because I told her, don't burn bridges. That big company you're working for could be somebody that wants to bring you on board and help them meet their small business goals down the road. Because that's a big thing, obviously, in government contracting. So yeah, work with the VBOC, find a local VBOC. And if they don't have anybody in that particular VBOC that is really good at government contracting, they'll help you find somebody that is. And of course, as I tell people every time I talk to them, I ran for Mark the Navy-wide virtual transition assistance program, Boots to Business class, every month. And we've got one coming up here in May. And those were so much fun. I was dealing with people in Japan and Bahrain and over in Korea and over in Italy and over in Spain and Germany. It was so much fun. And some of those people are still my clients, and that's been in the last 3 years. And that's just so much fun to be able to reach out to those folks. And one of them bounced all over the heck with his spouse from Bahrain to San Diego to Florida. And he's in Tennessee, and they've got a very successful dog grooming business. Yeah, I know. All kinds of stuff. Dog grooming.
Yeah. So whether it's like, I'm hearing like it's a longitudinal approach, like it's a relationship, like that you don't want this to be just a one-time event.
No.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Last question is, how should one prepare to meet with their VBOC for the first time? Like, what are some questions? I know you already talked about, ideally you're writing down, whether you have a great business plan or not, you're writing your thoughts down. Like, I thought that was really helpful. Know what you're passionate about, and like, but what else is on your mind in terms of how folks can prepare for their first meeting?
Are you going to need money? If you do, what's your credit score? Have you told your significant other that you want to put the house up as collateral for a small business loan? I highly suggest you do that before you do it. Once again, honey, I'm sorry, but they're kicking us out of our house because I messed up on the loan. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. I think that being prepared for all those things, and I highly encourage people when they come in, if they have a significant other or they've got business partners that maybe aren't even veterans, like yesterday, bring them in. We want to see the whole picture. We want to understand exactly that everybody is on board with this. I told a retiring Navy commander, I said, he had an idea and I thought it was a great idea for a business. I said, how's your wife? Because he had told me he was married. I said, how's your wife feel about it? Oh, she's dead set against it. I said, my goodness, if you can't convince her that this is a good thing that you want to do, then, and I think you've got a great idea, then you need to go get a job. And he was kind of shocked, but I said, look, because it takes so much effort to get a business up and going and become successful. It takes time and lots of time. You've got to work into that. If you've got kids or you're helping with family members, you're not going to have the time to be able to do the things you were doing before you started a business. So be prepared for all of that. Understand what you're up against. Understand the money. Where's that money going to come from? And anything else that may come into it.
And be ready to have that conversation. That's real advice. Like, I appreciate you're getting after some of the core there. With that, Mark, any parting words before I kind of close up here?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, we talked a lot about the Veteran Business Outreach Centers. We touched a little bit on some of the other resource partners, but I would just say the SBA family, the SBA ecosystem, as we like to say, has programs for wherever you are in your business life. Just pretty much whatever you want to do, there is a program or service that the SBA has. The Veteran Business Outreach Centers are a great place to start because they really understand how the military community works. But the SBA as a whole just has loan programs, programs for disasters, programs to help you with government contracting, a lot of different programs. And so we're here to help. We're the government. We're here to help, as they say.
No, I appreciate that. It's been, great to listen to you guys, and I have 2 pages worth of notes that I'll kind of follow up with some of you all on. But just want to say on behalf of our board of directors, our staff, our coalition, I just sincerely appreciate you two making time to share like stories, anecdotes, like real wisdom, so folks can be prepared and they understand what's available to them. So Don, Mark, like thank you for taking time. Like I know our vets will like cherish this information and hopefully get over that hurdle and go meet your VBOC counselors, go meet that team. And with that, like I just want to thank everyone for joining today and listening to the video, watching the video, thanking our sponsors, BAE Systems and Bank of America. And if anyone has questions, send an email to contact@nvsbc.org. Join our events. We have all kinds of them and we're growing across the country. So networking events, training, along with all of our advocacy activities. So thank you guys. And until next time, take care.
Thanks, Zach. I'll see you next week and down in Orlando.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.